I'm excited to talk to you about trust today because I'm operating in one of the lowest trust industries there is. There's a huge gray market, this giant kind of multinational $25 billion market, and it's full of a lot of mess. And we're here to clean that up.
All right, welcome back to Exploring Growth. This is going to be a fun conversation. A couple weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I stumbled across a podcast. Don't even remember which one it was, but I heard Margaret talking about Mobius Materials, her company, and it just fascinated me. Initially, I was like, wow, this is a really cool business. This is one of those businesses that you don't even know exist, but it's so fascinating once you start to get to understand what she's doing. And so I reached out to her and I was like, you got to come on my podcast and tell me about all of what you got going on. So here we are today with Margaret Upshur, founder and CEO of Mobius Materials. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lee. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this will be fun. So let's start with you telling us a little bit about Mobius Materials. What is the company and kind of who do you serve?
Okay, yeah, sure. So Mobius is a marketplace that is solving a huge underground problem in the semiconductor industry. And that problem is that manufacturers, once they buy for a particular product, they can never resell it. So they get stuck with hundreds of millions of dollars, actually in total $25 billion
Wow.
of excess components that either need to get thrown away or go right into this massive gray market. So I'm excited to talk to you about trust today because I'm operating in one of the lowest trust industries there is.
Yeah.
There's a huge gray market and it's full of a lot of mess. And we're here to clean that up.
Yeah, when you started talking, I was like, wow, there's a lot of waste.
Yeah.
Where does that waste go? Does it just go to a landfill?
A lot of it goes to the landfill, and then
Oh,
a lot
wow.
of it funnels into the gray market. The gray
Okay.
market's this giant kind of multinational $25 billion market.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that kind of perpetuates some trust issues in the industry.
Sure.
Then yeah, a lot of it is going straight into the trash. And not only is it a lot of, embedded carbon in these chips,
Yeah.
but it's also things that are very hard to mine that have very complicated and rare supply chains. So it's a big environmental problem too.
For sure.
Yeah.
This sounds like a social investor's dream,
Yeah.
I mean, because you're making money while you're, improving the health of the planet. I can't imagine those parts are like, they won't break down ever, probably.
No, never. And they have a lot of toxic materials involved as well.
Yeah.
And actually that's kind of gets into why I started the company.
Yeah.
I was at an OEM. So that's a manufacturer of modules in my case. And I was in charge of the supply chain. We had about $500,000 of chips that we were going to use in a product. Then we moved on to the next product line. Now we don't need to use these anymore, but they're new, unopened. They're totally good. And the offers on this gray market are so low that as a company, it's lower risk for you to just throw them away.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there and like making this call to throw away $500,000 of goods. And at the same time, I was like going to Starbucks and being like, don't give me a straw,
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you this, so I'm secretly a hoarder of wood, like wood materials. I like to build stuff in my spare time. And
you never know in that small.
You never know, you just never know. And that is the problem that people like me, we suffer because we hold on to the small pieces of wood thinking, this has value and it doesn't really, and we should just get rid of it. But that's the kind of person I am. And so to be, and I can even say back, probably a decade ago, I was working for a consulting firm and we switched offices and they had, what do you call it? Like dividers for cubicles. And, I'm looking at these perfectly good dividers and they're moving and they were just going to toss them. And I'm like, no, we can't just throw those away. Like those have more life left in them. They're great.
Yeah.
And so I actually took it on as a side project to resell those. I was like, someone else needs to get some use out of these.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying I could never be in your situation with all this material and saying, yeah, we're just going to chuck
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, it was heartbreaking. Yeah, I'm ready to host you on my podcast and you can tell me about Mobius for cubicle dividers.
Oh, that would be amazing. I'm sure there's a gray market for that.
Yep, yep. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And even I talked to, when I was in that role, I was like, this can't be right.
Yeah.
And I talked to several giant companies that I
Mm-hmm.
can't mention, but you'd know the name.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we have a 40-person team dedicated to just throwing away goods.
Oh my
Yeah, we
gosh.
have
Are
an
you kidding me?
entire business unit
That is
trying to
crazy.
incinerate these parts. It's wild.
That is wild.
Yeah.
How is that even legal?
I don't know. But hopefully
Wow, that blows
now,
my
like,
mind.
we want to be the outlet for those goods, and we want to build a functional secondary market. So what that means also is like there's a buy side problem here too,
Yeah.
which
Mm-hmm.
is that, hey, you need to buy some. Maybe you forecasted a little less than you got, and now your company is booming, and you need to produce next week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Semiconductor lead times are 6 months. So good luck, because you are limited to how much you bought before.
Yeah.
But if you want to buy that stuff fast, you've got to make a call. Okay, do I just not take the revenue and not grow my business?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to go wade into the depths of the murkiest gray market there is?
Yep.
And, risk financial scams and fake parts and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So these guys are in a pretty tough position.
So okay, like, let's before we jump into your business, I want to kind of sit here on the gray market. Help me understand the gray market. Like how does that work? Like what is it exactly?
Okay, well, it's
probably hard to explain. That's why it is what it is. Yeah,
that's right. It's a complicated beast. So I'd say there's several segments to it. Okay. There are legitimate parts of this gray market where people are, they're brokers and they're doing a great job, and they're forming a critical part of the ecosystem, or they're connecting buyers and sellers in this manual, high trust way. Okay. However, then there's this dark side to that where there's a lot of brokers out there that are perpetuating some of the counterfeit risk, some of the scams, et cetera, in this industry.
So it's like you don't know if you're a good broker or a bad broker.
Yeah, that's right. To set the scene, like at the point at which I got into that great situation, my forecast is way under, I'm doing great, I want to produce. What it means is that if I can't get this 70-cent part, I could lose $30,000. Mm-hmm. Like the differential can be that high. And my boss is breathing down my neck, and I'm losing X amount of money a day by not being able to find this part. Mm-hmm. It's the perfect situation that person is vulnerable. Okay. And so this market, even the Pentagon released a Joint Chiefs of Staff report. They think they're sourcing 15% counterfeits when they have to go into the gray market.
They just don't know.
So if that's what the Pentagon is getting, the average Joe is suffering.
Much higher.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just really unorganized.
That's right.
It's like chaos.
And then there's several types of counterfeits that are getting injected into this market because it's so profitable. Yeah. So there's people actually the e-waste industry is a huge input to the counterfeit semiconductor industry. Okay. So what happens is, you ship your old laptop in. Mm-hmm. Now that goes to e-wasters in the US. They send it to Asia. Then people are sitting there desoldering parts from the boards. Okay. It's great. It's recycling. That's amazing. We hope that happens. Sure. But then they get kind of like labeled as new parts, and then they feed into this whole gray market.
Okay. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. If the Pentagon's got a 15% spread on that, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. Yeah.
So then you've created a company then to give, law abiding, people and another option that is more vetted. Is that the best way to describe it? Or how would you parse that?
Yeah, that's right. We are building a safe spot market. Okay. So if you are buying everything you get on here, you're going to do the transaction with us. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to have the financial scams.
Yeah.
We are going to quality check everything. And that means we're providing you an inspection report, giving you a returns period, etc. So your quality is also guaranteed. So all the risk of that secondary market is not something you're going to suffer on our marketplace.
Okay. So then it's a loose analogy, but it's sort of equivalent to back in the day, me getting on, message boards, maybe, or forums, and trying to buy and sell various different things versus eBay coming along and making a proper platform where everyone can trust each other and there's reviews and all that.
I think you're right from the perspective of the platform. Like, we have built that platform.
Yeah.
But I would take it one step further and give you the analogy of CarMax.
Yeah.
So imagine like that used car world pre-CarMax,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You get sold a lemon every day. Everybody's scared of it. You have this uncomfortable negotiation process, and you don't really know the true value of what you're selling. That's what we've changed about the industry.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm buying a car in a dark alley somewhere from someone that wants cash, or I'm buying it from CarMax that has vetted. They are taking ownership over the product.
That's right.
They have their 3-point inspection or 36-point or whatever.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so that's a far cry from, disorganized chaos in a back alley somewhere.
That's right.
Love it. I love it.
Back alleys, semiconductors.
So to do this, it would seem like that would be a tall order to come into a market that is, fractured, and make sense of it and build trust. I mean, trust is going to be the topic of the day because that seems like that is your business. Your currency is trust.
Completely.
So how did you do that? I mean, what was from the beginning days, what did that look like?
Well, I think the cool thing is that if you're a startup, a low trust environment is a great boon because it means there's a huge gap between the offering and the need.
Yeah.
And so I would say in general that is the role of traditional brokers. And that's also been an extremely fruitful place for startups to come in and kind of disrupt the ecosystem.
Sure. Now, is that kind of how you started? Like almost like a broker?
Yeah, essentially. We started off and we knew a lot of sellers because I was coming from that OEM background. So I knew sellers mostly around San Francisco.
Okay.
And so I actually, part of another reason why I had started it is I was getting these spreadsheets, and the spreadsheets were like a couple $1 million a spreadsheet, and it would be like, hey, Margaret, do you want any of these parts? Like, I've got some accelerometers, but I'm throwing them away next week.
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
That's where I started with those lists, and
that's
a
awesome.
bunch of those people in that network. And a part of the issue with the trust is it's this vicious cycle. So that's destroyed the whole market. So imagine I'm an enterprise company. I'm not going to pay normal prices or go on the gray market unless I'm super desperate. So that means already the number of times I would go on the gray market is very slim. In addition, if I ever needed to go on there, I'm not going to pay that much because I'm buying a lottery ticket. I'm not buying a semiconductor.
Yeah.
And so this is depressing the prices on the whole industry.
Yeah.
And then, like, kind of viciously cycling around, now the sellers think, oh, well, I'm not going to get much back. Why am I even going to spend time on this? Why am I going to spend effort? The landfill is a more profitable option for me, weirdly.
Yeah.
And so that's the cycle we had to bust up. And we started with the sellers, we got the lists, and then we started building a buy base that was a little more cost sensitive.
Okay.
So the more cost sensitive the buy base is, the more they're willing to take a little risk. Those are people making $5 5% margins or something. So if
Right.
they're able to get a primary part at 50% off, like they could double their margin.
Yeah.
That's a person who might take a little more risk on us, the startup. So that's how we started. And we kind of continued the washing machine,
Yep.
how we've gotten to bigger and bigger buyers and bigger sellers.
So it would seem to me on the outset that this is a sizable market, one big enough and close enough to some of the bigger companies in the US that are producing or close to, either whether they're manufacturing or in the ecosystem of selling these goods, that it would seem to me the Apple, Amazon maybe, but the people that are producing and selling products with these semiconductors and all kinds of electronics in them would sort of turn their gaze to this market and say, this is not a big business for us, but maybe not altruistic, not like they're trying to save the planet, but maybe we should put some of our people on this and fix this market, because the output of that could be that it actually helps them on the front end as they're manufacturing and creating new products. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I thought that at first too, Lee. And when I first started the company, first couple of years, I was like scared to death of somebody popping in and becoming a huge competitor in the space. Yeah. But what's interesting is if you look at each person individually, their incentive is not there to build this whole new business line.
Okay.
So take the semiconductor companies themselves. For example, Texas Instruments, US-based company. They don't really have an incentive because this kind of marketplace only works if it's across every manufacturer.
Okay.
So for them to build it on a really limited basis,
sure,
the incentive isn't there. Same for Amazon. Basically, this is a marketplace that has to scale enough that any single player currently in the ecosystem is not that well positioned or incentivized to build it.
Yeah. So it's really calling for an outside player, someone who doesn't manufacture anything, or it just is the connector
without entrenched interests.
Intrinsic. You're exactly right. Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, it's awesome. It's a huge opportunity for you. Are there any other players that are, setting up shop like you're doing and following your suit?
Some of the other brokers are like developing tech products. So that'll be interesting to watch. I think one thing that has differentiated us a lot is that, and this gets to your trust point, is we've done two things that I think really push the trust.
Okay.
One is we are taking financial risk over this deal. There's a couple broker forums. So they would be forums where people post, hey, I've got 1,000 of this. Hey, I got 2,000 of this. And the differentiator to them is one, that financial risk, and two, the quality control.
Okay.
Without those two pieces, the whole value is reduced because you're back in lottery ticket world.
There's no trust. There's no trust at all.
Yeah. And you also can't trust that stock really exists. So half the time they call it ghost stock, actually. There'll be like 5 line items that mysteriously all have 5,299 units. And you're like, oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
But like, without those components, it doesn't function like a marketplace. It functions back into the uncertainty world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. And it makes total sense. I mean, the basis, again, the currency of what you're doing is trust. So, tell me, how does I'm going to pull up your website here too. How does your, service work? How does that work? Because you were talking about your competitors, spinning up some tech options. I'm just curious what yours looks like.
Yeah. Pull it up. Basically, there's two sides to it, seller side and buyer side. But in a lot of cases, our customers are both. So imagine, and Lee, I can also show you like a demo inside the app.
That'd be even better. Yeah. Because I'm just looking at the front facing.
Yeah. Do you want me to pull it up?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Hey, there you are.
Hey.
Look, it's legit.
Yeah, that's me. I'm not a bot, guys.
That's right. No AI here.
Okay, one sec. All right. Do you want me to present?
Yeah, let me just stop. There we go. You should be good now.
Okay. Screen. Okay. Okay. So this would be the site if you're inside the app. There's a buying side and then there's a selling side. And surprisingly, a lot of our customers are doing both. So you take that example of, hey, I'm ready to produce my next product line. I'm like doing an upgrade. It's a really cool new feature or whatever.
Yeah.
That means I'm selling chips from my last product line.
Mm-hmm.
And that means I'm buying chips from my new product line.
Okay.
So if you're on the buy side, you can shop our store. That's pretty basic. And then if you're on the selling side, you can also list your parts like this, and you'll get prices, offers, your total offer value here too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty seamless. It takes about 2 weeks usually to get everything sold.
Yeah.
And then on the buy side, you can also put in that entire bill of materials, or I like to think about it kind of like the ingredients list of a product. You can put that in and then set alerts on it. So if we get a hit on our marketplace, you can get those parts for 50% off or something, and get them at like the true market price instead of that really inflated distributor price.
Okay, so let me get some clarity on something that I'm a little confused on, and you may have already said this, but so are you saying from the financial risk side, everything you have listed to be sold, Mobius has bought and is reselling? I mean, almost, so it's not like eBay where I have it listed and eBay is just the pass through.
We have it on consignment.
Consignment.
So
Okay,
we
that's what I was
do
looking for.
guarantee that we have the stock,
Yep.
but it's on consignment and the
Sure.
seller is still selling it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
And then we
clears that.
do send everything, like once you make your purchase, what happens is the seller ships it to Mobius. We have 2 inspection facilities where we do physical inspections on everything. So we
Yeah.
have one in Hong Kong and one in Virginia.
Okay.
Ship it there. We do the inspection, and then we ship it on to the buyer. So by the time you get it as the buyer, you'll have received like an inspection report, and we'll have counted it, and everything is good to go.
Okay, so then your supply chain background, it probably helps you a lot here when it comes to setting up those shops for quality control or inspection, because a newbie person to the market is going to have a hard learning curve to come in and know even how to set those checkpoints up so that they have merit.
Yeah, that's right. It's a fun process because we've got 2 sales, 2 shipments. We've got to double up everything operationally. So we had to do a lot of work to get that streamlined.
Yeah. So how is the adoption for either side, buyer or seller, to the platform? Because like if you show that to me for the first time right now, I'm lost, right? Like I don't even know where to start because I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
But like an actual buyer seller, if you showed that to them, does it make sense right away and they can start using the platform pretty seamlessly, or is there a little bit of education?
We are still working on getting it to be fully self-serve. Right now,
Okay.
we do a big onboarding process with people, and I think that does also add to the trust.
Sure. Oh yeah,
component.
100%.
Like you get a person you can talk to.
Yeah.
You get somebody to walk you through and make sure that this thing is customized to you. It's pretty important to them.
Yeah.
In the long term, I would love to get it to the point where it's so clear. There's such a like easy onboarding flow through the platform that you wouldn't need that. We'll still offer it. It's not fully self-serve at this point.
So as you're building this out and offering it to new buyers and sellers, what are some of the things that you did to demonstrate that this is a platform that can be trusted? I mean, how did you take this to market and make it apparent? I mean, are there like certain metrics that people want to see, or certain, so sort of signals they're looking for or markers? How did you do that?
Yeah, I think social proof is a huge one.
Okay.
Getting a logo wall,
Yes.
for example,
Yep.
we prioritize that early on, and that's been really helpful. We get a lot of referrals. We actually get about 30% of our customers from referrals from other customers.
Mhm.
And we do ask them to do referrals. And honestly, that's the best way to, if you were going to put
Yeah.
you want to hear the trust, like if
Yeah.
you hear about it from your friend who used it,
Yeah.
that's number one. So obviously, if you nail it, you do a great job. These
Yeah.
guys love it. Then you will get referrals, and that's the top way you could get trust. But from just an external perception, I
Yeah.
think social proof is huge.
Oh yeah.
Actually, having the tech platform, I think, has given us a level of credibility
Mhm.
above a standard broker. Um, and then I think third, putting myself out there. This is a good
As a
example.
founder, yeah.
Yeah, the founder brand has been helpful for credibility for
Mhm.
sure. Um,
Yeah.
and then lastly, we are financially guaranteeing these deals, so we can back it up at the end of the day. If we can tell them, hey, yeah, you can return it. You have a problem with it, return it. Then
Uh,
that kills so much trust issues
yes.
because at the end of the day, that's what they are worried about.
It's a guarantee.
Yeah,
That's what they're looking for, is it to be guaranteed. And that's funny because just the fact that you have to have all the infrastructure in place to offer it, but the fact that you can offer a return policy builds in that backstop. So trust is built around the purchase
right,
right
right.
there. Yeah.
We also have we've taken a different tact than the rest of the industry. The rest of the brokers, they have a really opaque pricing, so they'll give you a price and they will never tell you what they sold it for.
Sure.
You don't know. They could have lost money on it, but most likely they doubled their money.
Hmm.
And so, as a OEM going into that world, you you realize the incentives are stacked against you. They're
Mhm.
not aligned in any way. The more they can push your price down, the better off they are. So
Yeah.
you're against each other in this negotiation. What we've done is we've set it at a flat percent. So
Okay.
the higher the price goes, the more money we make, the more money they make. So we've set the incentives so that they do foster trust too.
That's super interesting because in time, let's say you're leading the market, with what you're doing, or championing it, amongst other competitors that are also above board. You're really you're really building out the market. You're really setting the standard for the market, which is pretty incredible to think, in 10 years, you could look back and say, we entered the market, we had success, but we actually are the market leader and we created the market, and it's all based around your pricing structure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's super interesting.
Yeah, I look at Amazon a lot as an
Uh huh.
example because they've done a great job at setting the market standards. For example, on reliability or on timing of shipments,
Hmm.
all that type of stuff. And then you look at now that's just raised the table stakes for everyone. That's the
Yes.
new expectation, and it's hard to compete with
For
them.
consumers, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So I hope we can raise the expectations in our industry. They're really on the floor right now.
Well, yeah, but I think that just by doing what you're doing, you are setting the standard so that there actually is a standard where it
Hmm.
doesn't seem like there was before. So you can
Yeah,
set a really high mark for a standard, but then you can always raise it, because you're the leading the space.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's super cool. I mean, it's like um, motivating, and it drive to me. It would drive me to know that, oh wow, we're in this space. I don't have to look over my shoulder because the Apples of the world don't really care to compete with us.
hmm,
So we're competing sort of in this mid market. There's not a lot of big competitors. In those who are in here may not have figured it out, but if they had, we're all kind of coming from the underworld, right?
yeah.
So there's only a few of us here working. You have the chance of really breaking out in a market, and actually building out the market, which is super fascinating.
Yeah. One other point I want to make about that is we don't see the brokers as our competition either.
Right.
We want to actually be providing services to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing an amazing, they offer so much to the industry. They have great customer relationships, they have great customer service, all this
Yeah.
stuff. And yeah, there are some like ones that are a little bit, or maybe we wouldn't want to deal with, but for the ones that are really above board, we can be a service provider to them. We
Yeah.
can be a wrapper on this industry that is the price discovery, like the quality assurance layer that is
Mm-hmm.
needed for them to discover new customers too. So it there's no reason why that needs to be an antagonistic relationship. Like
Right.
I think
Mm-hmm.
that can be collaborative too.
Sure.
They could offer value across the whole industry.
Yeah. Just because I have kind of a marketing bent to what I do, I'm curious who is um, your target kind of ICP? Is it supply chain managers or?
It's mostly supply chain managers. Yeah.
Okay.
We occasionally come in with the CFO. So that would be a case where,
Hmm.
they're like, okay, it's the end of the quarter.
Yeah.
Now's a great time, actually. We're
Yeah.
hitting that right now. So it's the end of the quarter and we've got to take a huge write off, but we want to make sure that it's right. That
Hmm.
would be an example. We sometimes come with CFO, but it's primarily supply chain manager.
Okay. And I'm curious about that group of people. They do they kind of present, or are they like more of an accounting type of financial type of person, or are they a different personality type?
I think there's two versions of them.
Okay.
I'll be interested to see what kind of reaction you get back from
Yeah.
this. But I think there's one type of supply chain
Yeah.
person that is like a processy, kind of engineering
Hmm.
mind.
Hmm.
And then there's one type which is more of a taking a little bit more of a procurement bent. They're like a negotiator and they love
Yes.
the game. And a
Yes.
lot of times you have overlap between those two personality types. So it's always fun. Uh,
That
like
makes a
the,
lot of sense.
yeah, yeah. And so we try to make, that's another thing we've been trying to do on the UX side is if you've got that negotiate love of negotiation,
Mhm.
like you're gonna love using Mobius because it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's like a game and you're getting money. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's a perfect way to describe them, because you have like the Lean Six Sigma type of
yeah,
person on one
yeah,
side.
yeah,
It's all about efficiency.
yeah.
Um, and then you have the negotiator that's a little bit more creative on the other side. And if you have a mix of that person, you got a really interesting, thing.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah, but
tell me,
the customers are all amazing. They're all so fun. And
I
it's
bet.
it's so cool too because the products that we hear about are the coolest. Stuff like autonomous mining robots,
Oh gosh.
saving lives in the mines of Rio de Janeiro. Or, at the total other end of the spectrum, like it's a kid's toy. It's
Yeah.
like, it's using generative AI to read a book to a kid.
Yeah.
It's just the spectrum that we get to see is so cool.
And are you finding most of these companies are based or run out of the US, or is it a smattering across the world?
A lot of them are run out of the US, but where they're actually manufacturing from is a
Sure.
different story. Yeah.
Sure.
Um, and in terms of the semi market, like where do they ship to?
Hmm.
It's not. I'd have to look at the exact numbers, but I think it's around 35% that are shipping to US plus EU.
Hmm.
So it's a pretty small segment of the market relative to the actual demand for the finished goods.
Sure.
A lot of times those companies will be headquartered in US and EU, and then they'll
Yeah.
be producing Asia, Mexico, wherever.
Have you found have you noticed any rabbit trails that beg for you to run down, like other opportunities that come up as you're doing this, because you're dealing with, raw materials, and you're seeing the end products that these raw materials either going to or have been in, and you're like you just said, like it's cool to see all these cool inventions and
Yeah.
innovations and stuff. It as an entrepreneur and getting into a market like this and running a business like this, you have to be probably have a pretty good opportunistic side to you, and creative side to you, that you would get pulled down these rabbit holes.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could be starting like 10 companies at
I know. I
once.
would think that there's all kinds of
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah, I have a note in my phone with business ideas, and it's
Oh,
like extremely unwieldy now.
yeah,
But what's cool is some of the ones I thought of 5 years ago, are now customers of ours. Like they're actually happening.
that's cool.
So, yeah. But being a hardware company is so hard.
Yeah.
It's nice to be slightly to the software side of it. I
Mhm.
have a lot of respect for our customers, and I did it, before at my last company. So it's so hard to build a hardware company.
Yes. Yeah. The physical product being shipped and supplied, and
Yeah.
yeah, I can't imagine the amount of complicated logistics that go into it. It's not my world at all.
Yeah, it's like you so fast into Murphy's Law territory.
Yeah.
Everything that will go wrong is going to go wrong in the process of shipping your hardware product.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the spirit of something going wrong, I'm curious, when has the trust that you've built over time been tested? Has there been I know there's been probably multiple times where it's been like, oh crap, now people are going to stop using the platform, or I'm going to lose customers. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first one is quality issues.
Hmm.
So it's, even if you have a customer that's an amazing customer, ISO certified, tightened
Hmm.
up supply chain, they might have experienced a supply shortage in the past and had to hit that gray market.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't have traceability on their side. So we've got to have a really tight quality control process. We
Hmm.
fail about 2%, 2 to 3% of parts that come through us right
Okay.
now. And a lot of times that'll come down to we have really tight standards on how they're stored. For
Sure.
example, they can't be temperature fluctuating, or they can't have moisture intrusion,
Right.
or any of these things. And so that's surprising. Actually, we've like told some customers, hey, like you guys need to check out, like you need to trace back where you guys got these parts from,
Hmm.
because this is the quality report.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we've had to discover some of those issues on behalf of our customers, which is interesting.
Well,
Another,
so just as a side note to that, if you're saying 1 to say 2, 3% that you're failing,
mhm.
then what that says to me is that the gray market then just lacked the organization and the trust factor of a legit platform. It's not that there was that much, uh, you know, uh, whatever. There's not a lot. The product in the market was actually mostly good, and there was value to it. Now, of course, there's a
Yeah,
lot of fraud and that kind of stuff, but it just needed someone to put a flag in the ground so that you could assess the value.
yeah, I think that's definitely true. The other 2 points I would make is one, the subsection that we're dealing with on the market is different from the open market
Okay.
because there's selection bias.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to sell counterfeit parts, definitely not going to put them on Mobius.
Hmm.
And then second, the people we're dealing with are, really high end
That's true. So
manufacturers, like
you're
the
weeding
Apples
out
of the
all of that.
world.
Yeah.
So that is like kind of giving us a valuable subset from the beginning. The
Hmm.
other point I want to make is in the open market, you are losing trust data because imagine I'm Apple, um, and I have excess from iPhone. I forget what number we're on right now.
Yeah. I don't care. I hate iPhones.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say I have access from my old iPhones.
Yeah.
But what is that? If I were to then go blast that on the open market right in front of the world,
Hmm.
that is leaking a significant amount of information
Yeah.
about my sales, about my next product, like what camera am I going to
That's
use,
right.
etc. And so I would never do that. And also makes me look bad because
Yeah.
everybody, all my sellers, like they believe when they come to me and they have 5% of their total buy annually
Hmm.
being excess, which is actually pretty good, they all are like tail between their legs, like, oh my God, Margaret, I overbought. And I'm like, you guys are right at the 50th percentile mark. You're totally fine. But
Yeah.
everybody's nervous about it. So Apple is never going to put their name out there on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is the open market is anonymized,
Mm-hmm.
but by anonymizing, you lose trust data.
Yes.
So being an intermediary actually has a lot of power because we can, on the one hand, be like, oh, okay, this is coming from XYZ Fortune 500.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're pretty sure everything's good. We have the full chain of custody, but they're not able to release that to the market. And so we can be that intermediary layer creating trust there.
Yeah. That's very well said. That helps me understand it so much better. And you're totally right. I mean, I go to, well, Apple could form a shadow company called, I don't know, Pear or whatever, but then some supply chain nerd out there would figure it out and they put it on a Reddit thread and then the world would know.
Like by 4 p.m. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, this has been a great conversation. And I got to have you back to go deeper on this because there's still more to discuss, but thank you so much for coming on the show. If you want to reach Margaret, the best way to go is to the website. We'll link it below. And I also will tell you should go connect with her on LinkedIn. Are you on X or any of these other platforms in any?
I'm kind of a lurker, but you guys can try. I'll give you my links. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not on X. I'm not on really any social media for the most part. It just sucks too much of my time. So the only thing I'm really on with any gumption is LinkedIn, and that is kind of hit or miss. So
yeah, same. It is quite the time suck, and it's got I think signal to noise ratio on some of the other platforms is tough.
Yeah, a lot of noise. Yeah. So all right, cool. This has been awesome.
Thanks so much for having me.